Welcome again to Cottage Talk. I am Russ Goldman. Joining me right now are the guys from the Hammersmith end. We are back to look back at the victory against Brentford. They watched it together, and we're going to spend probably about the next hour talking about it. I do want to mention that we are live on YouTube and also on Facebook. So what I would like, if you can, please do subscribe on YouTube. That would be a big help. Would really appreciate it if you subscribed on YouTube and liked it. That would be excellent. So let's get going. I'll go around the room first. Kamal, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see you. Your voice is a bit sore today.
It is.
I was talking to Matt. We're amazed at how you can continually reel out these shows without getting tired. So
I get tired.
For a vacation for you.
Thank you. I actually appreciate you looking out for my best interests, Kamal. Thank you very much. Alex, how you doing?
Hey, Russ, I'm good. Thank you. Good to be back. Great to see you.
It's great to have you guys back. And Matt, it was nice to talk to you after the match. I should say I talked to all of you after the match.
Yeah, likewise, Russ. It was good fun. Yeah, we were having a celebratory couple of drinks at the back of the riverside after the game, great. And it's a very nice way to spend Saturday evening watching Brentford disappear back to Hounslow, and while we get to lord it over the River Thames.
Well, Matt, that's where I actually want to stop. Before we talk about what you guys were talking about before the match, what was the atmosphere? You kind of already set it up after the match.
The atmosphere after the match was jubilation, right? It was it was about as controlled, a victory as you're going to get, especially in a game where through an individual error you go behind. Yep. It didn't feel a game filled with stress from about minute 50 or whenever our top scorer own goal stepped in to put us 3-1 up. Brentford didn't feel like they were going to get through again, and I think I increasingly have just tremendous faith in this defense, which I think we can come back to. But the atmosphere of the game I thought was it was fabulous, and Brentford played their part. They brought fans in good number. It's a nice rivalry rather than an absolutely toxic rivalry. But Saturday 8 p.m. kickoff is always going to be a fairly lively one if the game is half good, and I thought we were half good.
Okay, excellent. Over to you, Alex. I want to get your thoughts on the atmosphere, but also on what Matt just said, because it's something that we talked about on the post-match show. The defense, how much more solid it is. We could talk about Anderson being much better so far this season, maybe even Sessegnon being a little bit more solid. What do you make of the defense and also the atmosphere? And I'll go to Kamal.
Yeah, I think it's easy to forget that we were scrappy and the defense looked a bit calamitous at times in the opening 25 minutes or so. So we didn't actually start great, to be honest. No. But we really did, grow into the game. And obviously 2 incredibly quick goals really settled us. And from then on, as Matt said, completely in control and didn't really have any worries. We'd start to really sit back and enjoy it. And I think the whole Fulham, the Hammersmith end had, because the atmosphere in there was great. It was one of celebration throughout the second half, apart from, one moment where we all felt a bit robbed. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a beautiful evening. We'd all gone to the pub to watch the Chelsea United game, seen Chelsea lose, which is always nice as well. So just a generally lovely evening. Yeah.
Well, it sounded like that when I talked to you, Alex. It sounded like you were enjoying yourself. All of you.
Always, Russ.
That's great. And in fact, I'm jealous because I wish I was there with you guys.
I wish you were there too. You'd have had a great time with us.
That's great. Kamal, over to you. What are your thoughts about the atmosphere and also what we're talking about? Just in general, the defense. I think that's a great place to start because, again.
About the defense?
Yep.
Oh, no. So, just about the atmosphere. I mean, when these two guys get excited, it's so much fun to watch. Alex has babies. He's jumps up and down. I feel like I should tie him down to his seat because I'm a bit worried to take off. And Matt, it's astonishing, started looking like one of the Fulham hardcore. He was standing up with his arms up and he was chanting in a voice I've never heard. It was like
Really?
watching Linda Blair in The Exorcist.
Wow.
Just a different voice came out of his mouth, which is just incredible. I never heard him sound like that. So, for me, a lot of the jubilation comes from looking, whenever something like that happens, looking at the ground around, seeing how everybody erupts. And you know, when Fulham beat, I don't know, it's this whole thing about, is Brentford like a rival? You know, it's like Fulham see Chelsea and Brentford see Fulham. And I think I've told him my old boss is was the ex-chair of Brentford. And I was going to message him yesterday. And I thought, oh no, man, he's like, this is too painful, because Fulham is like a big issue for the Bees. And every time we beat them, and they've had a lot of tragedy against us in the last year or two, particularly because of the Wilson. I always remember that Wilson match when they were beating us, and then like extra time. So it was a good night. It's a good night. These guys, they sucked up a lot before the game and straight to the Riverside bar, and they turned into vacuums afterwards. So it's like, good. Very happy.
All right. That sounds great. All right. Before we get really going into this, I'm going to share about the atmosphere that I dealt with. I thought I would share that with you because I spoke to you guys after the match, and I mentioned this on the post-match. I'll just share this with you because I think it tells a lot about not just what you guys were experiencing at Craven Cottage, but probably around the world. So I watched this with the Fulham supporters group of Boston. I've done this before. This is the second time I've done it. There are about 15 of us, but I invited a coworker and a friend with me, and they just enjoyed so much just being there. And of course, after the match, it was complete jubilation. We're taking pictures, and it was great. And I'm just glad I was able to experience that, because I can't experience it with you guys. I could experience it with the supporters group of Boston. Just great group of guys and ladies, I should say. And one bonus story to this is that there was a couple that were visiting from London, and they wanted to watch the match, and they saw the post on X, and they joined us. And one of them turned out to be a Facebook friend of mine. He says, "Russ, how you doing?" I'm like, "How do you know me?" Because we've been Facebook friends for 10 years. And I'm like, "Oh my God." So that was incredible. And
I did think with the because on X I sort of follow the a few of the US supporters groups dotted across the country. I did think it was a rare and presumably very welcome opportunity for them to be able to be watching a Fulham game live on a weekend at a decent time of day, to be able to be in a pub.
Yes,
rather than being in the pub at 10 in the morning, or worse if you're on the West Coast. So I hope all of our North American fans, who I've got tremendous respect for, you have to put in the yards to get up super early and
come on, those
sometimes some pretty dismal stuff. So I hope that they were able to enjoy the afternoon drinking session and revelry.
Oh, there was a drinking session, all right. There's no question about that, Matt. And it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed myself. So I thought I would share that with you. And it was really nice to meet this couple that came along, and they're at the Patriots game today. And unfortunately, they saw a loss, so I feel bad for them on that. But they really enjoyed their time with us, and that was great. Okay, guys, you got
to post some of these pictures up in Cottage Store. I want to see you going crazy.
Do you want to see me going crazy? You don't want to see it. You actually don't want to see this. Come on, I keep telling you this.
I think goal celebrations they're not for wider distribution, unless you're of a particular generation where you seem to film everything in your life. I think these are very private moments.
Come on, I'm telling you right now, you don't want to see me like that. You don't want to see me watching a full match. I keep telling people that. You don't want to see it. I go very nonverbal. That's the best way to describe it. I don't really talk. I just get all fixated. My friends are trying to talk to me, and all I could do is watch the screen ahead of me. And they're like, "Are you enjoying yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm enjoying myself." I really can't really converse with them.
I think a very tense experience for me, like one of these escape rooms, would be sitting between you and Tony Gold watching a football.
Oh, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Scary.
Okay, good stuff. All right, guys, let's now go to what was the talk before the match? So I want to focus on talking about the starting 11, and this is where I'm going to tell everyone that there are going to be some bad language, at least from me, that I'm going to share because I want to share the story. I shared it on the post-match show with you guys. So I actually, when I saw the starting 11, I made 2 phone calls. One was to Tony Gold. One was to Kamal's brother, Suhail. And I both had the same reaction when I saw the starting 11. Matt, take a guess what my reaction was. I'm going to tell you the words I used. Fuck him. Those were the words I used. Okay? I was very upset. Now, it ended up working out. He knows more about football than I would ever know in 100 lifetimes. But I was disappointed by the starting 11. Matt, we had this discussion last week. I understand the reasons for why he went with this. It worked again. But that was my reaction. I was just disappointed. I was disappointed that Kevin didn't start and that he went with Berge and Lukic. But looking back at it, it worked, Matt. So I want to get your thoughts on the starting 11 and what you guys were talking about before the match.
Look, it would be very easy to retrofit a narrative that I'd foreseen and thought, oh, this is a great idea. I was with you. I think I was just more disappointed than I was surprised. I didn't expect Kevin to come in. I thought Marco would go easy. So I wasn't surprised, but I saw the lineup when I was racing to catch up with the guys at the pub. I was on the train and I saw the lineup and I just said, for fuck's sake, it just felt like a sort of very lacking in ambition.
Right.
That being said, I think the 2 things. So I said last week about Leeds being a very big team.
Yep.
I purposely don't go out of my way to watch any Brentford games. So I haven't seen Brentford live this season. I hadn't appreciated. I knew that they were a big threat from long throws, and I've seen highlights where you see some of it. I didn't realize that was all they did.
That was all.
They looked exactly what they are. They look like a team who have given them the set piece coach the manager's job, and he said, "Well, I only know how to do this," and so here we go. We're just going to do set pieces. And bluntly, if you're going to be firing in, effectively, each long throw was like a corner. I don't know how many throws they had, but it felt like about 20, 25. Add those into the actual corners. That's like 35 corners we faced in the game. And in that scenario, I'd rather have Lukic and Berger on the pitch than I would Kevin.
It's a good point.
And I think it worked well. I also think on the defensive element, so one of the things that I think Marco's moving us into is being super hard to get past.
Right.
So the goal we conceded yesterday is the first goal, I think, from open play that we've conceded this season. So the other goals we conceded have been penalties or, the Man United goal from a corner, the Chelsea goal from a corner. I think that's the first open play goal that we've conceded. That's quite a record given the games we've been in. Free scoring Brighton, free scoring Chelsea, so that's not bad. And apart from that, they didn't look like scoring Brentford. They just didn't. So I think we're looking very tight defensively. So that's one thing. And I think Marco will probably stick with that until we, that changes.
Sure.
The second thing to say is that clearly Lukic particularly had been told you need to get forward more. And he
shoot
had
more too, by the way.
Exactly. So he had 2 shots in the first half. And the first one, he dragged wide, but it was a good hit.
Yep.
And the second one ballooned up in the air and we scored from it, from the sort of melee that led to Iwobi's goal. So, Lukic, and I don't know how many shots he's had in the previous, 60-odd games he's played for us, but I'd have thought it's about 2. So clearly in that one half to have sort of come up with 2 was pretty good. So I did feel a bit flat about the lineup, but I subscribe to the logic of it.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense, my friend. That really does. I want to share a comment, then I'm going to go to you, Alex, because it's going to talk about basically what you guys watched. This good evening, gents. Went to the game last night. Thought the defense played the throw-ins and corners brilliantly, and I would agree with that. Anderson and Sess played well. I would agree with all of it. Brentford played like Wimbledon 35 years ago. Alex, is that true? I don't know. I don't know Wimbledon 35 years ago.
The man to ask about that is Matt.
Matt, is that true?
Yeah, it is basically. Wimbledon used to have a guy called Vinnie Jones.
Oh, I remember Vinnie Jones. Okay.
And everyone knows Vinnie Jones now as an actor. But yeah, he used to chuck the ball into a bunch of midfielders and strikers who were all about 6'3". But that was pre-VAR, and it was when you're allowed to elbow whoever you wanted in the face to win the ball, and it worked pretty well for them.
Okay, very good.
I once asked Vinnie Jones if he could say which is the name of a place in Wales. And it's because Vinnie Jones was a Wales captain, I believe, for a little bit. He certainly played a lot for Wales, but he was Cockney. So I was like trying to indicate, he's not that Welsh, even though I can't speak Welsh either. That's one of the few words I can say. But he didn't take it very well. I was only a kid, but he was not amused.
Okay, very good. So, in general, what were you thinking before the match, Alex? Besides, we're talking about the starting 11. What were your thoughts? What were you?
I was really confident. I predicted a 2-1 win, and that was me being conservative. I don't like to get all gun-ho before the game. So I was confident we'd win. I think I said on the pre-season episode we did that I think Brentford are going to go down this season. And I'm
starting to feel that way.
I still think they will. Yeah, I think they've got very, very little. They're not very good. You can't. The quality of the Premier League nowadays, it's not like it was all those years ago when Wimbledon were very effective for a little while. You can't get away with just trying to win games by chucking long throws in nowadays. So I think they're really going to struggle. So I was just really very confident going to the game yesterday. I've got to admit, maybe 20 minutes in, I wasn't quite as confident. I thought we did start a little bit slowly, a little bit scrappily. But yeah, eventually we just kind of took control of things. But yeah, no, I mean, like Matt, I was a little bit disappointed, mainly about Kevin. I understand the Lukic thing as well. But Matt's text was, it was Kevin only on bench, boo. It was the most amount of O's I've ever seen in a text message. It went on for ages. But yeah, so I think we were all pretty disappointed about the Kevin situation. But it's you got to say hats off to Marco. He got it right in the end, right? So fair play to him.
I think you should see this comment. This is from Suhail. Alex confident before the game. Is this an AI version of it?
That's how poorly I rate Brentford at the moment. So that's the reason.
Okay, great. All right, Kamal, how confident were you before the match?
I think so. Looking at telling the predictions, I think Matt, from what I was reported, was 1-1. He thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Alex was 2-1, and I was 4-1. Actually,
really?
Alex keeps getting mad with me. I actually said it was going to be 2-1. I said 2-1.
I said 2-1 as well.
Well, 2-0. I said 2-0.
Oh, 2-0.
0-0, Kamal. 0-0 was your call.
Come on, mate. I mean, listen.
2-1 now.
I said we were going to win 2-0, but I kept changing my prediction as the goals went. I was doing a Holly.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't change your prediction as the goals go in.
Okay.
This is why he thinks he's got 4-1, 2-1, 2-0. It's because he actually had 0-0 at the start of the game.
But I was pretty confident. I think since Frank's gone, because Frank made a lot out of his.
This does not look like the team under Frank at all.
No.
It did not. It looked awful, and also that they sold
three
couple
people,
like the key players, So, I also I think Mbuemo is playing out of his place. He's just constantly he's doing well at United, but never finishing. He doesn't have that kind of gang-led front that he had when he was at Brentford. So I didn't think they would go down, but I was a little bit bored by their tactics. But I was also furious. When I'm talking about it later in the game, furious about the team sheet that came up. And I thought, Marco, when he's not having good times, reverts to type. And when you see him walking around the pitch side with his hands in his pockets and his hands, his head down, grumbling like some kind of mini Don Corleone, I think we're gonna have a bit of a bummer of a day. And I just felt like he was not enjoying it. But every time we scored, he really looked like he was enjoying it.
Oh, I think he was enjoying it.
And when that goal was disallowed, you see his reaction. So his
passion. We're going to talk about that coming up.
So I knew we were going to win, but I just didn't think. And it's an important game for us. And some of the best crowd chants from the Hammy end come out.
That's great.
What was the one about the bus stop in Brentford? What is it?
Bus stop in Hounslow.
Bus stop in Hounslow.
And the abuse is celebratory. But
Russ, what was your pre-match prediction? So you said 2-1.
I said 2-1, Matt.
Nice.
It's funny because Tony and I talked about it. We did a preview show, and I thought that we were going to win. I didn't want to go too far out on a limb and go say 3-1 or beyond that, but I felt good because I knew this wasn't the Frank team, and I knew it wasn't going to. They were missing key players. We talked a lot about Norgard not being in there anymore, and that has really changed them. We could talk about Embuemo, but I think Norgard, as we were talking about in the show prior, was a massive loss, and you could kind of see it. But also, you have a manager that is a set piece coach, and then you're changing your focus. Like I said, it felt like their focus was all these long throws and set pieces instead of the actual match itself. So I had a good feeling that
it's a pretty rogue appointment, isn't it?
It is.
That position is. I mean, you can debate how relevant it is, but we at Fulham think it's so irrelevant we don't even have one, and they think it's so central to their club that they appoint him the club manager. Like that's a pretty divergent set of philosophies.
It is. It is. Maybe it has to do with their analytics. I don't know, because this isn't a team that's basically made by analytics, but it is very strange how they run their club, and it's their choice, but I think they're actually going to be in trouble, and I think they're in for a long season, and that makes me feel good. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Let's move on. Let's now go to the first half, and let's get some of the discussions of the first half. And Matt, I'll go right to you. Let's talk about the opening stages, because that'll lead us to talk about the unfortunate situation that led to their goal with Josh King. And I said this on the post-match show. I'm going to share this as well. I think this goal, this mistake by a young kid who's still learning the game, was a blessing in disguise. What I mean by that, I think it kicked us into gear, and I think it galvanized the team around Josh King. So many of the players, you guys were there, you probably saw it, went right up to him and really tried to console him. And I think he played very well after that. Maybe you guys have a different view of that. But I want to get your thoughts about the opening stages, and then also the goal by Brentford and what it actually meant in the bigger scheme of the match.
Yeah. So on the opening stages, I mean, Alex alluded to, I thought we were quite shaky for the first sort of 20 minutes or so. We just looked a bit inconsistent, incoherent. We had a couple of badly misplaced passes. One of them was punished, the Josh King goal. And I think it was Lukic who misplaced another pass where Sharda ended up being sent wider than he wanted to go by Bassi, who bailed out Lukic. But they got a throw in the first minute, and that landed inside the 6-yard box, and that set the tone for the game. I think we really felt like we were going to be in a battle there. And in fairness, all four of the back four really stepped up to that. And I thought Leno, the sort of unsung moment of the game is perhaps Leno's quite weird save on 8 minutes from the throw in that sort of went through everyone, and he ended up sort of sitting on the ball on the line. If that had gone in, it would have felt like the momentum was all with them. Whereas actually when they scored, when Josh King, made that mistake, and as you say, Russ, I think he'll learn, if you're gonna learn that lesson, you might as well learn it in a game that you win.
Yeah, exactly.
And he won't do that again. And we take for granted the way that we play out. We take for granted those wall passes where it's in from the centre back or the keeper, and it sprays out to Tete or Robinson. Usually, it's a difficult skill. And Berger and Lukic in particular, whose passing is just so sharp. They make it look so good and easy, but it's not easy. I think we did well to make sure that we neutralized the game a little bit, and the reality is our goal was a reflection of our play up until then. We had real sort of beauty and beast 90 seconds, right? There was a horrible sort of triple deflection pinball, and then Iwobi sort of smashing it home. That was a horrible goal. I'm very happy to not really see again. And then 90 seconds later, this sort of wonderful, like at the time, it looked like a really fantastic goal. The Wilson finish was very reminiscent of Tom Cairney against Villa in the playoff final, sort of first time just sweeping it home. The thing from our end where we sit, we couldn't see how good Iwobi's pass was because we're relatively low down. It looked like an accurate pass, but when you see it back on the highlights, you realize he's had to thread it through such a tight gap, and it breaks perfectly for Wilson, who finishes it brilliantly. And I thought Iwobi and Wilson were both fantastic on the night. And honestly, once we got ahead, I wasn't concerned that they were going to get back into it. My halftime prediction to finish up on the first half, my halftime prediction was that we were going to win 4-2.
Wow.
So I felt pretty confident as soon as we went ahead, because they weren't threatening us at all, other than with the Josh King mistake, and that's forgivable.
Absolutely. And Alex, I'm going to go to you. I shared this comment from Suhail. He says, lovely images on TV after King's era senior players consoling him. I saw this. And he really did play well afterwards. I'm glad that Suhail mentioned that. So feel free to share your thoughts on that. But I do want to transition and talk about Iwobi's goal. And because as Matt was saying, it was like ping pong, all over the place. But I felt that Fulham deserved that goal. What were your thoughts about the equalizer from Iwobi?
Yeah, no, I agree. We did deserve that goal. We got our act together, and I think maybe as well as what Suhail was mentioning then in terms of the senior players putting an arm around King, being very quick to console him, to G him up. I also think that the players, all of them, took it upon themselves to make sure they were going to dig him out of a hole, and that goal wasn't going to determine the game. So I do feel like we stepped it up after that point. I felt a goal was coming. And, it's no surprise. It's pretty rare, but those goals were, I don't know how many seconds apart, but not many, probably about 70, including the celebrations, right? So incredibly quick fire goals. And I think that was all part of the kind of desire from all the players to step up and deal with King's error and make sure it didn't cost us. So, from having shades of West Ham away last season, it was a really great turnaround. And it was an ugly goal in many ways, but it's actually a really good finish by Iwobi. It's a clever finish, there wasn't many places he could put it, and he hit it hard and low through the defender. So really good finish to follow off what was a bit messy, especially from the Brentford defenders. Lovely little assist for Muniz as well. I think it bounces off his hip or something, and he gets a cheeky assist in there. So good stuff. But yeah, obviously massively important goal that did change the game for us, because two quick fire goals really changed the feeling around the ground. I think, like Matt said, from that point, I just felt absolutely confident. I think all the players did too. Right.
And that's going to lead me on. Then I'm going to go to Kamal, get his thoughts on the first half. I now want to follow it up because I know what a fan you are of Harry Wilson. Okay. So I want to get your thoughts, Alex, on this goal. What's interesting, I know that you guys probably didn't get a good view of it, right? But if you've seen the videos of him pointing to basically where he wants it, that to me is what it's all about, man.
Can you say it in Welsh? Alex, can you say it in Welsh, please?
No, I've done my Welsh for today. No, absolutely. It was a beautiful flowing move. And I think, there was still kind of like the energy of the prior goal running through the stadium when that move hit. You could still feel the kind of joy and the way they played that quick, passing move. As Matt said, the through ball from Iwobi, it is threaded perfectly. And Harry Wilson, just first time, the shape of his body, exactly where he wanted it. It was just a beautiful flow move. And Matt's right, where we were, you couldn't quite see the kind of the intricacy of the ball. It really is, there's a small gap to put it there, and he did brilliantly well. But even from where we were, you could see it was a lovely flowing move with a beautiful first time finish. And I was delighted for Harry Wilson, because Matt was telling me before the game, it was 16 matches or something like that he hadn't scored, not including pre-season friendlies where he was on fire. So it's been like
16 starts he's had in a row without scoring. He scored as a substitute, obviously, against Brentford away. Last season, which was only in the Premier League 7 games ago or something. But it's from the start he hasn't tended to score.
Right. So there you go. So I was delighted that he got one in, and I do think he's been playing really well. And so that was the one kind of solace I took from that starting lineup as well.
Yep.
I was really pleased that Harry Wilson's got another chance, because I thought he was very good last week and got pulled off before 60 minutes. So I was worried he was going to be the one sacrificed, but
Okay.
no, I was delighted for him.
Okay. I was going to share this when we talked about the second half, but since we're talking about Harry Wilson, there was an argument amongst the Fulham supporters group in Boston when Iwobi went to become central. And Mike Levy, who, if he listens to me and Mike, I love Mike. He's like, no, Russ, it's going to be Harry Wilson. It ended up being Iwobi.
So I'm always advocating for Harry to play.
I know you are.
Same place, because he's brilliant for Wales when he plays there. He's really good at just pulling the strings. He's such an intelligent footballer, and for some reason we just never give him the chance to do it. So I don't think Marco ever is going to give him the chance, unfortunately. But he that's where I think his real game intelligence comes into its own. So and he gets more opportunities to get those central shots off, like he did in preseason. Some of those beautiful shots from 25 yards out.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. All right, Kamal, give me your thoughts on what was going through your mind during the first half. You could talk about any of these moments, and also I want to get your thoughts about all of these long throws. I know you guys were a distance away, but what did you make of all that and how we handled that?
Well, the long throw is what we used to do at school, isn't it? Really? And it's like, if you didn't have the balls to kind of play on the pitch, you'd be just trying to throw the game. I mean, long throws and corners. I think Matt said, they've got a set piece, manager. It's
crazy.
It's kind of not graceful. It's not slick to watch. It's like it's Sunday League stuff in some ways. Who was it? Somebody mentioned Vinnie Jones. You guys mentioned Vinnie, and so
Matt mentioned Vinnie Jones.
Yeah, the next, he'll be like grabbing somebody by the groin. But I thought they just looked a bit messed. I think the backline, the Brentford backline looked very disorganized. They were there for us to take advantage of.
Absolutely.
And in both to say, we played well. I know, but we played well against a really, almost at times, it wasn't a headless team. It was a very confused and aimless team.
Right.
Iwobi, congrats to him. 1 goal, 1 assist.
Yeah.
But the pass to Wilson, it kind of it sliced open the defense like cheese. And I was surprised at how easy it was to get the ball to Wilson, even though Wilson's finish was immaculate. And I echo everything there. The number one Wilson fan. So, our mate over here in the corner is the number one Wilson fan. And also, the number one Traore fan. He's super fan. Alex, both of these players.
No,
but only in Welsh, obviously. But he, I do agree that Wilson. I like him starting. I couldn't believe it 16 times. I like him starting. I like him coming on. I was telling you just before the pod that he's just excitement, and that guy's going to add velocity to the game. I'm very worried we're going to lose him. I think it might be a question about money, but I hope the team can realise that this is a player who he's got Fulham DNA inside of him, and he needs to stay. Talked during the first half. I kept changing my predictions. I kept lying to everybody and telling them that I got it right.
Shocker!
It was such a celebratory moment because I thought, if we're coming to the Cottage, we're going to see a victory. But I went off and I managed to, get my celebratory Bovril. Holly to get me a celebratory Bovril, just by the wayside. So because I knew it was going to be a good day. That's how I was feeling.
Excellent. And I want to give a shout out to Ben and Holly. I actually spoke to them for the first time, and it was really nice to speak to both of them. So it's always nice to speak to new people. And I just want to say thank you if they're watching, for taking some time to talk to me, both of them. I really enjoyed our conversation. So just want to mention
Ben says you're an OG. Do you know what that means?
I know what that means. I don't know if I agree with that, but I know.
That Goldman has been around for years. When I started 10 years ago, still here. I'm
still here.
He's not that old. Ben.
I'm still here. I guess I'm like Freddy Krueger. You can't kill me off, I guess, right? From Nightmare on Elm Street. You just can't, I just keep coming back. But no, that's a weird reference that I just brought. But since you're a movie fan, I thought I would say that. Come on. Anyways, the one thing that I want to mention, you guys, before we talk about halftime and going into the second half is that one of the things we were talking about at the pub that we watched the match with was the love fest for Keith Andrews by the commentators. There was a serious love fest. I heard of what an incredible man manager Keith Andrews is. And it went on and on. It wasn't just one comment. It was throughout the match.
Who were the commentators? Who were they?
To be honest with you, I don't know. But I believe we got the international broadcasters. So I don't know who it was, but they were they love themselves some Keith Andrews. I'll just tell you that, because they talked him up a tremendous amount throughout the match. It wasn't even, I mean, they were praising him left and right. So that was a little strange, but I guess
there'll be more departure soon.
Yeah, I don't think he'll last very long. His comments after the game.
Oh, I didn't even hear what he said after the game, Matt.
There was a lot of we really lacked concentration in key moments, and it's all about execution and stuff. There was no, I got this set up badly wrong, because even when they were chasing the game, they had their record signing striker Utara, Dango Utara, who he came on, I forget when exactly, but it was 15 minutes to go or something. By that time they'd been behind. They'd been 2 goals behind against their big rivals for a decent while, and he's stuck with 5 at the back. Yeah, and it's like incomprehensible. Like Marco he'd never do that, where you just say, okay, we've lost touch with the opposition. Let's just hold back and try and avoid conceding another one. And the reality is, to your I know your personal views on this are extremely strong, Russ. They did concede another goal anyway. But Keith Andrews afterwards had no accountability for it. If you're going to build bridges with the fan base and with the players, you say, look, I may have got that wrong.
Exactly.
And in fact, Thomas Frank did that. He didn't need at that point to build bridges with the fans, but he, in the 2-1 game that Kamal referenced, when Wilson got the 2 late goals, Thomas Frank after the game said, I got the setup wrong there, and that wasn't good, and we'll learn lessons from this.
Right.
None of that from Andrews. I think he'll be gone. I'd have thought he'll be gone in November.
See, Matt, I have so much respect for a manager that will do that, and I have very little respect for someone that won't take personal responsibility. And he falls in the latter category. We're talking about Keith Andrews. And I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be around too long. And
which is a shame. I'd like him to stay. I'd like him to do what Wolves have done. Give him a new contract and then just watch him take them down. See you later.
Oh, that would be nice. That would actually be great. All right, guys, we're at halftime. Matt, you've already talked about at the half. You thought Fulham would go on and really win 4-1, right? Or no, I'm sorry, 4-2. You thought? 4-2.
Yeah, I thought they would get a goal from one of their long throws, but they weren't getting through our defense at all from open play. It was only the throws, whereas we were looking more and more threatening. I thought Muniz in particular, he really grew into the game and started off. He looked a little like he was going to be outmuscled by Pinnock and Collins. By the end of the game, they were busy crying foul every time he got into a challenge with them, and he was beginning by the end of the first half to completely dominate. And Iwobi, when he's like that, when he's got the wind in his sails, he's such a fun player to watch because he takes things on, and he the confidence which is exuding through the team. I think the improvement I was most pleased with relative to last week was, so last week I was quite critical of Sessegnon, who I talked about being not a bad defensive left back, but being really lacking in his attacking potency. I thought he was fabulous yesterday. I thought he was a definite contender for man of the match. I thought his runs were quite creative. He did some sort of inside line underlapping rather than trying to do the Robinson, right round the outside to give Iwobi space to pull wide and isolate Coyote, which is what you have to do against 5 at the back. So I was very confident. We didn't look tired. We hadn't been stretched. I felt very confident. And then, when you've got Kevin yet to come on, it always feels like you're going to get something else as well. So no, I felt really, really positive at halftime.
Feeling at halftime.
Oh, I think you froze there for a sec, Russ. Did you ask?
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. How do you feel at halftime?
So I was like Matt, just really confident. In fact, I was so confident I was counting how many goals we'd need to catch Chelsea. So I think it was 7. But that's what I was spending my halftime.
We needed 6 more. We needed 6 more. We needed to win 8-1.
Yeah, the 8-1. That was it. So yeah, that's what I was figuring out. I had Chelsea in my sights at halftime, and like Matt said, with Kevin to come on, I was like, yeah, here we go. So I was feeling very confident.
Okay, and Kamal, were you feeling confident at halftime?
I mean, I had some frustrations because I was still feeling a bit sour about the setup and the strategy. And I knew we were going to win, but for me, it was about how we were going to win. And I look as much as the players on the side, how they're watching the game. Also, with my eyes, I need my macrofocular microscopes like Alex, so I can see what's going on Marco's face. And I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I want the only thing that's really missing from we buy all these phenomenal flair individual players, yet we stick so rigidly to a system, the old ticky-tack coming from the wing, and I noticed, and we'll talk about this in a bit when Kevin came on, he wasn't as wild and as innovative as he was in his first game.
Sure.
And we got players like Josh King, Kevin, and he buys into players like this. Even Lukic, remember how mad you were going about Lukic last year, how much he'd created. I thought he had a very good game because he was diving forwards. He was taking shots. He was going in. But I like more direct attacking football. I do not want to be playing table tennis on the pitch all the time. It's driving me mad sometimes.
I think you made that clear on several occasions.
Go on, Matt.
Your views.
Matt, what you going to say?
No, I was going to say, Ross, tell us given that you were watching this with the guys in Boston, what was the halftime chat for the Boston supporters group?
So I can share that with you based on what we began, because again, we were very confident throughout that first half because we were bossing the game. It was all about it at halftime, how in the hell are basically Brentford just a goal down, because we were really controlling the play. We were in full control, and all the guys were very confident, which is probably not normal for Fulham supporters, especially in a derby like this, but they were pretty confident. Like you guys, they felt that they were going to build on this, and that's actually how I felt. I wasn't doom and gloom that they were going to give up this lead. I thought they were going to build on it, and that's actually what happened, Matt. That's what was actually encouraging. I know I'm a glass half full, but sometimes I can feel like that other shoe's going to drop. I never felt like it was going to drop in this game, Matt. Never felt it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the feeling that we all had. It was really, like I said, it was a great group. They were really into it, and I had a wonderful time. I just want to share that. They're the Fulham supporters group of Boston. I will try to go back as often as I can, but sometimes there's Saturday games, and I work on Saturdays, obviously. So I can't really go. But when it's a game at this time, I can go. When it's a Sunday game, I can go. So I will be back to watch a game with them again. It was a lot of fun. All right, guys. So let's now talk about the second half, and I think it's great to talk about this with you, Matt, because we were just talking about Seth. So let's talk about the own goal, because he's a big part of the own goal. In fact, I want to give him a lot of credit. And while we're talking about this, I'll share what Tony and Giannis said about Session, because we had this argument during the show about we really miss Jedi. We really miss Jedi. We really miss Jedi. And this is Giannis's argument. Tony's argument was, well, we do in some ways going forward, but defensively we're more solid with Session. Now, I know what you said the match before, but in this match, I think I understand where he's going on this. But also, his play going forward from a left back position was very good. And he's very responsible for this goal, for this great header for us.
Yeah, agreed. And I think I thought he had a really good game. And just to take back to last week, pretty much all of his crosses were chipped crosses. So where he was floating it up to the back post, and the Leeds back three just had no issue with it at all. I don't know whether there was some feedback or whether he looked it back and sort of said, I need to change what I do here. But that cross was one of several that were whipped in.
Yep, exactly.
And little shout out for Anderson's switch of play to get to Sessegnon in the first place as well, right? If you're playing against a back five with then three pretty immobile midfielders in front of them, trying to find any space is quite difficult. And for our right centre back to pick out Sessegnon so accurately, Sessegnon one touch, maybe two touch to get out of his feet and whip it in. It would have been lovely if it had been a Muniz header into the corner, but as it was, like I'm kind of getting used to this own goal thing. One of the other chances we had in this game that Kelleher, who I thought looked appalling all night, but in the first half, Kelleher sort of punched off one clear from the corner. That would have been, I think, that would have been an own goal as well. I mean, own goals have got more goals for us than Aston Villa have scored goals at all this season.
Right, Matt. I don't mean to interject, but I'm glad we're talking about this because we talked about it also. But you make your own luck, right? It's luck, but you make your own luck.
Correct, absolutely right. And but I thought Sessegnon was instrumental to a lot of our good work on the day, going forward and defensively. I thought he did a good job defensively. I don't know, it's delicious when they take that long to drop in, and it felt so much like the Harry Wilson first goal from last year as well. The view that we had on it is this looping. I don't think anyone's going to get to that very slow ball, and then it just nestles inside the post.
It's beautiful.
Fabulous. And it's so rare in the Premier League. In the last two seasons, it's been so rare that we've had a 2-goal lead where suddenly, you're just, we've got breathing room. This is going to be easy. And at that point, I was like, this could be 5 or 6.
And that's what's frustrating, man. And that's what is so frustrating.
Now, Alex was actually getting genuinely quite excited about 8-1 to take us above Chelsea. Yeah.
Well, I get that. And Alex, now I'll go to you because I want to talk about why I'm continually calling this 4-1, because I've watched this back. We can talk about the decision by VAR, but where I want to start, I want to talk about the strike, because I've heard some commentary. The commentary that I listened to said Kelleher should have done better. Absolutely not. This was so powerful. This is about Rodrigo Muniz. It doesn't count. It's a disallowed goal. What a strike. Alex, I want to get your thoughts on the strike, and then we can talk about the whole VAR nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolute ping. He hit it just at the right time, caught it absolutely flush. You're always going to criticize a keeper in the Premier League if you get beaten on your near post. But as you say, that ball flew. It absolutely flew. It was a beautiful strike. Lovely assist by Harry Wilson as well. Got to get that in there. And just a massive injustice. I mean, insane, especially after we had the thing with King against Chelsea. You'd have thought VAR might just think twice about doing it. I mean, literally, you can only think it's just because the guy had a bit of a bloody nose. But even then, it's just ridiculous. It's supposed to be a high bar. To get the referee to go and look at it. And even then I thought, because we'd actually seen it on Kamal's phone by that point. So we'd seen it by the time the referee
so you knew.
So I was like, that is not they can't possibly give this. And I couldn't believe that he got sent to the side to look at it again. But I actually thought, refs never, once they're told go to the monitor, I think I've once seen a decision where they don't then do what
it happened against Fulham once.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the one time I think I've seen it. So but that time I genuinely thought, I think the referee might tell VAR he's stupid to bring me over here because it was so soft. It was ridiculous. So incredibly frustrating. And Muniz needed that goal as well. What was also beautiful is the way him and Raul had this lovely moment, hugging on the touchline, celebrating together.
Yeah, did they show that, Russ, on the TV?
What was that?
So did they show that on the TV? So Muniz, after he'd scored and done the celebration, he went running over to Raul, who was warming up.
I didn't see that.
And the two of them in the sort of strikers union, they had this huge.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was really nice.
I didn't.
It was
I
great.
didn't see that. I saw him go over to the flag. That's all I saw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
no,
So he
it's on the
goes
other
and
side.
celebrates the goal with Raul right in front of us.
Oh,
After
okay.
he celebrated with the
Oh,
rest
that's
of the team.
great. See that?
But
That's
that's
great.
the thing. There were so many touching moments. Like obviously the thing with everybody getting around King, that thing with Raul, which is really pleasing to see. And also, I mean, a point that Kamal made earlier about Wilson's in the DNA of Fulham.
Right.
Like the Who Put the Ball in the Brentford Net song is just a great song, right? And it's so good that he went and did it again. And he did it again last season after the 2 he did in the first game as well.
Yeah.
And he's become a kind of institution against Brentford. And there were so many moments like that last night where it's just like everything is coming together,
But
So,
the Brentford Wikipedia page, the Brentford FC Wikipedia page,
Yep.
has been altered so that the owner is listed as Harry Wilson.
Okay, now that's funny. That's funny. That's fine.
Yeah, but I do agree with you, Russ. The important thing is we won 4-1 last night. We didn't win 3-1 last night.
Exactly.
That was an absolute joke, a farcical decision, and the VAR guy should never be allowed to be in a room by himself ever again.
So
I think the blood makes a difference. I think if Collins hadn't had blood, because the reality is he clearly got cut. He must have been hit in the face because his mouth was bleeding
Sure.
quite bad, quite a lot.
But it's accidental,
that,
Matt. It's accidental.
I agree, but I think that sways the referee. I think if there'd been no blood, the referee would be like, "That's just a football coming together." I think it's quite hard as a referee to go back onto the pitch and say, "I can see that your face is bleeding."
Yeah,
but nothing happened. I honestly think it makes a difference to the referees.
I agree,
and I think Henderson made a big deal about it. So that
Henderson's a good captain from that point of view. He's a really good.
He brought it to the attention, and that started everything going in that direction. And then next thing you know, VAR looks at it.
It's not under 10s football. You can't just say, "Oh, let's do it because he's crying." I mean, that's essentially.
Kamal was the one that pointed out that they were just playing like under 10s. They had one lad who could throw it far, and they're like, Let's just do that then.
Yeah.
Kamal, I'll go to you. What was going through your mind during this whole scenario?
Deja vu.
Yeah, exactly.
The crowd always comes out with one of my favorite chants, which is Marcus Silva's right, the referees are. And the reason being is, it was a United game. He got sent off and he was so angry. And we just keep getting, he keeps getting, and we keep getting these bad decisions. And if you see, I don't know what it was like on TV. I saw a bit of the TV coverage, and he was just laughing and pointing. And what kind of aggressive, exciting play can you have if somebody can't jump for a ball? Because it was clearly not intentional. It was like
absolutely not.
Who's falling back, and Collins just happened to have his nose in front of his elbow. And, what's he supposed to do? It's like, what kind of exciting goals can we score on the pitch if you're going to just rule everything out?
He's a physical player.
Let AI play
this
the
is
game
unfair.
And then see what the result is. This is just nonsense.
It's so unfair to this player because, again, he's a confidence player too. It's very unfair to him. This is his game. He's physical. He uses his body to his advantage. And to wipe that out is it's just wrong.
That's to us. Wrong. It was just maybe it could have been probably the best goal of the game. Just took it away from us.
Fantastic goal. That's why
they seem to think Fulham fans are like Victoria Sponge. Oh, they'll take it. Don't worry about it. They're soft. They just kind of middle of the road. We do not like it.
No, and
it's just,
and I can tell. Obviously, no one liked that. And the one other subject that I want to talk to you guys about before we talk about man of the match and what was the talk after the match, Matt, I'll go back to you. What did you make of the substitutions and also Kevin's performance? Obviously it's hard to be as dynamic as he was the first time. I think maybe he was trying a little hard and they were really focused on him. What did you make of the substitutes in general?
I think the dynamics of the games, Leeds and this game, were so different. A real turning point in the game was that fourth goal. I think if we'd scored that, I think our substitutes would have gone on with a mission to destroy Brentford. Because Brentford would have had to put on more strikers to try and chase the game. And I think we'd have brought on either Traore or maybe even Chukwueze, although that's not great, like Marco.
Just go.
And Kevin. And But at 3-1, there was always a chance they were going to get a goal from a long throw, and then there would have been a horrible last however many minutes. And so I think that the lack of the fourth goal meant that our substitutes really were there to sort of contain the game rather than take it away from Brentford. Kevin was entertaining. He was less amazing than he was against Leeds, but in the time he was on against Leeds, they were really sitting back and trying to hold on to a point. And so he was up against a very clear setup. Easy for him to get the ball because they weren't trying to get it off him. And then it was whether or not he could beat his man, which he could against Leeds. Brentford was very different. So the only thing I'd say is a lot of the so I thought our substitutes were fine. They all made sense. I didn't think anyone did anything particularly amazing. The only thing I'd say, there's quite a lot of on Twitter. I didn't notice it at the time because Cuenca was at the other end of the pitch, but the reviews of the 10-minute appearance, Cuenca came on in the 85th minute and there were 5 minutes of injury time or whatever it was. And I saw him make a couple of interventions, but everyone was saying that the difference that Cuenca made when he came on was really amazing. So, it's so nice that we can call on players like Cuenca who gets so little game time, and then he just steps up and he's game ready from...
Matt, we talked about that as well at the event.
Yeah.
We talked about that. We talked about Cuenca because he made an impact in a very short period of time.
And we're going to need him this year because of AFCON. He's going to be playing... he's going to be playing January, February, pretty much for those 2 months. So this League Cup run that we have, because you have to think that we'll get past Cambridge. At which point we're into the late stages of the cup. Cuenca will be getting game time there, and I think we need to start. As we get closer to December, we need to start rotating him in a bit more and more so that he's fully ready for January, February. But no, substitutes are fine. But I think if the fourth goal had gone in, it would have been a party, and we'd have gone on to get maybe 6.
Make Alex happy.
Without the fourth one, we would have fallen short of the 8. But without the fourth goal, I think the substitutes were just there to wind the game down, take the points, and move on.
Okay, excellent, great show, guys.
Well, Alex kept saying,
"What? Go ahead.
If we score 8, we're going to go above Chelsea." I was like, "What is he?" I said, "Where is he? Is he watching the same game as me?"
I think that's right. If that fourth goal had counted, we'd have gone on from there. But there you go.
I actually,
I
agree with Matt on that. That's why I'm frustrated because I wanted to see us batter them. I really I wanted that.
It would have been absolutely great to see us hammer them, wouldn't it?
I just wanted to see it. 3-1 gives them, honestly, Matt, it gives them too much respect. It gives them a little bit.
I'm just sad we're not playing West Ham anytime soon because I think they look like a fun team to play, but they will be under new management by the time we
them and Wolves bring them on.
Hopefully they'll have Keith Andrews.
Yes.
Exactly. All right, guys, to wrap up, let's just go to man of the match. Let's just go around the room. Come on, I'll give you first crack. Who's your man of the match?
Oh, you really want to do this?
Yes, I want to do this.
I've had so much stick. I even got asked this by Alex earlier. That's not Alex and Matt. And they always ask me, who's your man of the match at the end of the match?
You can't say the team. Give me your man of the match.
That's what I said go in with a definitive answer, and you're not quite nailing it.
Get off the fence and give us an answer. We do this every week.
I made some notes, and it was very difficult because we were all going around. I did not agree with Matt.
Come on.
It's
an easy answer.
It's between 2 people.
Okay. Who are the 2 people?
Anderson and Wilson.
Okay, fine.
And we've not talked about Anderson at all through this match. And,
we have talked about Anderson a little bit.
And I think he's just so much more powered and flex than he was for the
I think he was injured last year. I'm starting to really feel that.
But he was just he looked like his old 2021 pandemic self, where he was bouncing, he was up for everything, and is it Thiago? He was all over Thiago. Thiago was not getting anything through.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm going to make you make a decision. Make a decision.
Anderson.
Okay, Anderson.
I
Fine.
do like Wilson. I did like Wilson.
Okay. You made a decision. We're not going back. I'm going to you, Alex.
Yeah, so I think the important thing here is I agree Anderson really deserved a shout. So fair play to Kamal. I think you've made a good decision there. However, I'm not going to go for Anderson. I think the key thing is the 4 goals all count. I think that's the important thing.
Okay.
Which means that Muniz got a goal and an assist. Iwobi got a goal and an assist. Wilson got a goal and an assist. They all got a goal and assist. They all played brilliantly. But overall, I think the combo of Wilson's goal, which was beautiful, and his assist to Muniz was the best combination of goal and assist. So I think Wilson gets man of the match.
Going with Harry Wilson. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, I'll give you final word.
I thought Sessegnon, but it was I thought about channeling my inner Kamal and saying the team, because there were that was a series of performances.
I can't have you doing that, because he'll just do it every week. I can't.
But the range there was pretty small, right? There was no one dropped a clanger, and no one was a 10 out of 10. I thought it was a really good solid bunch of 8.5s.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Who did you go for, Russ?
I went for Iwobi.
I was going to say, I hope you went for Iwobi, because I think those
Yes.
Anderson, Wilson, and Iwobi in particular for me, they all, like Matt's right. It was a really good team display. There wasn't one clearly cut above the rest, and I think Iwobi deserves massive credit as well. So yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, great show, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Matt, thank you as always for
good to see you, Russ.
And Alex, great to see you. I think Kamal dropped off early, but it's always great having Kamal on. But great show as always. We'll have you back the next time there's a home match. So we just want to wrap this up. For the guys at the Hammersmith end, I'm Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk.